Welcome to Failure is Progress, presented by Sweat Factory CrossFit. I am Coach Frankie Ortega.
And I am Coach Keith Barber. Join us today as we discuss everything going on inside the CrossFit space and, more importantly, what new and exciting things are happening in our Sweat Factory CrossFit gyms.
As always, thank you to all of our listeners. We appreciate the support and truly enjoy the feedback we've been receiving from all of you.
Please reach out through our DMs on Instagram. If you aren't already following us, please do so at Failure is Progress, all lowercase. And now, on to today's episode. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with episode number 21 of Failure is Progress.
Oof, 21.
21, my guy. How are you, Frankie?
I am amazing, my friend. I cannot ask for more. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. Also, wouldn't want to ask for too much anyway. We're about that failure is progress, so we're gonna earn it.
You know what? I take it back. I will ask for something. I would like a little bit of warmth. I'm tired of the cold. Our gyms don't have heaters. Our gyms don't have ACs. Like, we need the right temperature. Yeah. This is getting out of control, man. I didn't move to Florida for this.
Yeah. And it's weird, too, because, like, if you stand in the shade too long, you'll freeze your you-know-what's off. But then you step out in the sun for, like, 15 minutes, and you're like, oh, it's not that cold.
Yeah, it's annoying. it really is annoying. You know, you gotta warm up with a sweater on and then get all sweaty. You take it off and then you're cold again. It's just not my preference. Not my preference. I don't know how they do it in other states with the snow.
I will be a very happy man if I never have to shovel snow ever again.
Anyways, man, what are we talking about today?
We're going to get into a couple things. The first thing we're going to talk about is the first step to the CrossFit Games, which is the CrossFit Open. The Open's right around the corner. We're going to kick it off on February 29th, which I believe is a Thursday.
Yep.
That's when we're dropping the first workout.
And we're not dropping it. CrossFit's dropping.
Yeah, CrossFit HQ. Sorry, I need to be specific. Yeah. I don't have any inside tips. Don't be blowing up my phone asking me what I know. But you can blow me up just to chat. I would love to talk to you. We can hang out, whatever. But yeah, man, the CrossFit Open is coming up. Do you have any goals for your CrossFit Open this year?
I do. I have two big goals. The first one is to not get injured, and the second one is to place better than I did last year.
Very nice. Very nice. Do you know, like, the exact placement that you got last year? Or are you talking about, like, the percentage?
Well, I know I was in the 1 percentile, which is the bottom. I would like to get into the 2 percentile.
Okay.
One step at a time.
Yeah, one step at a time, brother.
Yeah, I forget exactly what my number was, like 26,000 something. I would like to get higher than that.
Yeah.
So my goal last year was not to be the last person. Yeah. So mission accomplished there.
Mission accomplished. You didn't come in last.
But I think I've progressed quite a bit over the last year, and I'd like to see where I'm at. That's really the main purpose for me, right? I think that's what the main purpose should be for everybody. See where your fitness is compared to last year. And it's nice that we get to do it in this fashion on a worldwide scale.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you, is like, what kind of hypes you up for the Open, being somebody who's not trying to, like, compete at the games?
Man, so last year was my first Open, and I really had no idea how it all worked, what it was all about. I was just kind of saying yes to everything and following along. And it was really, really fun. What I'm looking forward to this year, going off of what I went through last year, is seeing everybody at Friday Night Lights and enjoying the festivities of it all. I had never heard of Friday Night Lights beforehand. So even, like, I started CrossFit in the March before, and I think the Open had just finished when I started CrossFit. So it was like it had just ended. When I started CrossFit, it was like the last week of the Open. And I wasn't in tune to anything that was going on. I was doing my foundations. I remember at one point, Jen kind of told me get into a plank and threw 25 pounds on my back or something and told me to just hold the plank for a while and then wrote something on some piece of paper, and I had no idea what was going on.
Mhm.
But then fast forward a year later, and that was how I got points for one of the teams that I didn't know I was on. So yeah, that's what I'm excited for is this year is the Friday Night Lights and the camaraderie that happens at all the gyms, and then of course helping a lot of people kind of understand it, being in their shoes and not knowing what was going on. So welcoming new people to the Open, that's exciting for me too.
Yeah, you get to be somebody else's Obi-Wan this time. So
Yeah,
that's pretty
for
cool.
sure. What about you? What
Um,
are you looking forward to?
Same thing. I always look forward to like bringing the whole CrossFit community together, right? Like if I go to Wyoming for whatever reason, I know I'll be able to drop into a box there. They're probably going to be running the open workout if it's a Friday, and I'll be able to throw down with them. I'm going to have some random people that I've never met cheering me on, and it just feels like it's not your specific people, but it's still your people. You know what I mean? It's still
Yeah,
your tribe. It may not be your group, but it's still your tribe. And that's kind of what I love about the Open is that the whole CrossFit community, like you can go to Brazil and drop into a box there, not know the language at all. You know what I mean? And you'll still
yeah.
have people cheering you on, trying to get you that last rep for the CrossFit Open workout.
Would you
So
say it's similar to like going to a sports team's away game and wearing your team's colors at an away game, but then all of a sudden you look across and there's somebody else there wearing that same jersey, and you're like, all right, cool, that's my people.
yeah, yeah,
That's kind of
exactly.
what it's like.
Yeah, yeah, exactly like that. So it's just really cool to have that experience. I also like the history that it keeps, meaning that it'll show you your scores from the very first time that you signed up ever. So that's pretty cool, just as a unique little challenge for each individual to be like, hey, this is where you were last year. Here's where you are this year. You know, here's how many times you've signed up for the Open. It's just really shows you some of the methodology of CrossFit come to life, right? So, like we always say, that our fitness is our work capacity across broad time, modal domains over the course of your life. And obviously, we don't really get that over the course of your life portion because unless you like track your workouts like day to
Forever.
day and you're constantly going back to different workouts and retesting them.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't retest a whole lot of workouts, but when the Open comes around, you kind of get the same style of workout. It might not be exactly the same workout, but you still get that same style. So you can see your progress over the course of your CrossFit journey.
That is pretty cool. I thought of something I want to ask you that I'm curious about, and maybe there is no specific answer to this, but if you had to choose, let me rephrase that. There is no specific answer to this. But if you had to choose one CrossFit workout, like a Fran or like a Murph, or one benchmark workout to do every year to assess your fitness, which one would that be?
Ooh, good question. And I can only pick one.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm thinking now, I don't know enough of them, but if you could only pick one to assess where you're at, which one kind of encompasses enough for you to be like, yeah, I'd pick that one?
Hmm. I can't remember the exact year or the exact Open workout was, but the workout is, or excuse me, I can't think of the exact,
Name?
yeah, the exact name of the workout, like Open 18.1 or whatever. I can't think of that name, but the workout it was a 10-to-1 of dumbbell front squats and burpees over the bar. Um, and then whenever you finish that work, then it was a 1 rep max clean. So
Oh,
it was 10 dumbbell front squats, 50 pounds in each hand for the guys. I think it was 35 for the ladies. And then you did one burpee over the bar, and then 9 and 2, and then 8 and 3, etc., all the way until you
whoa.
get to 10 burpees over the bar and one dumbbell front squat. Once you finish all of that, then you do a 1 rep max
Was it like 3 minutes
power cleanse. My time
for the
was
for the clean?
yeah. So I think the time cap, don't quote me on this, but I think the time cap was 12 minutes. So whatever time you finished until the 12 minutes was the amount of time that you had to do your power clean.
Oh,
Yeah. So the reason that I picked that one is for two reasons. One, you kind of get both ends of the spectrum. Like 50 isn't a crazy amount of weight. It's still pretty heavy for your average person, but it's not so heavy that strength is going to become the limiting factor there. So you still get some of that anaerobic capacity in there to be able to see how much faster you're getting. Like the first year, it may take you 10 minutes just to do that conditioning piece. And then you only have 2 minutes to max out your clean. And then the year after that, it may only take you 8 minutes, so you got that extra 4 minutes to max out your clean. I like having some component of strength in there, even though it's more like strength endurance, because obviously it's not going to be top end absolute strength because it's a power clean and it's a power clean under fatigue. But you still get some idea of how much stronger you're getting or how much stronger you're getting under fatigue. So yeah,
I'm looking this workout up while you're describing it.
I want to say it was like maybe 2017 or 2018.
It sounds kind of fun. I think I like where your head's at. They're going for that front squat with dumbbells versus using a barbell. That's definitely my jam because my wrists hate the barbell. And then the burpees is one of those things that, you have to hate it because that's why it's there. And then you get to go for something fun with a barbell.
With the barbell, yeah.
Let me see. Open 14. Is this it? Nope, this is not it. Open 14.3. Nope, that's not. Oh, that's a nice one. 8-minute AMRAP, 10 deadlifts, 15 box jumps. And the deadlifts get heavier each
Yeah,
time.
deadlifts go up, yeah.
Except I don't box jump, so I won't do that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll look it up. But yeah, man, that was a kind of cool question to ask you because you have done. This is this going to be your 10th Open?
No, I haven't done the open every year. I think this is going to be like officially like signed up. This is only my third year signing up for the open. I've done the open probably 7 times. There were 3 years that, not consecutively. One year was the first year that I started. I had done maybe 2 CrossFit workouts, and I was just like, I'm not gonna crush myself. Yeah, there it is. 18.2. I knew it was either 17 or 18. One of those years.
18.2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10 of dumbbell squats and bar facing burpees. Then 18.2A. Do they always have a 2-part like component to one of the first open workouts like that?
Um, no, to answer your question, but it has happened often enough for you to kind of expect it. So
Yeah.
it's not a guarantee to where it's like, okay, one of the workouts going to be a Metcon right into a 1 rep max, but it's happened often enough that if it did pop up, it's like, okay, we were kind of expecting it.
Yeah. It sounded better when you said it. And now that I'm looking at it, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. So going back to you, I think that's interesting. So you've only signed up for 3?
Yeah.
Huh. What years?
I wouldn't be able to tell you off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it was 15, 17, and then this year.
And last year?
Did I sign up last year? So maybe it's 4. Yeah. I guess
So this
I
year will be
wasn't
your
counting this year.
4th?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't know why I thought you had signed up every year since you were born.
Just out the womb,
That's
straight to
crazy, man.
CrossFit. Yeah.
All right, so wow. That I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. All right.
Yeah.
So switching topics, just because I want to get into this a little bit. One of the things that I set as a goal for me is to not get hurt. And I say that because I am currently hurt. And I'm finding it kind of difficult to prepare for the open being slightly hurt, right? Like on Saturday during the competition team, I guess I pulled my hamstring and it took me out. It was a bummer for me because we were doing snatches. There's a good chance snatches will be in the open, and it's one of the movements that I've probably done the least of. So I'm sad about that. And we've actually had snatches 3 times over the past week and a half. Haven't been able to do them once. But how do we navigate injuries in a way that still allows us to work on our fitness and not hurt the injury, right? Because there's different levels of the injury, obviously. But what would you, taking my injury specifically into context, my current injury is not my hamstring. It is my left knee. And thank you for pointing out that it was probably my IT band. So I
Hmm.
have an IT band. Is that called an injury, or is it, I know you said
Yeah.
IT band syndrome.
Yeah.
I'd never really heard of it until, well, not never really heard of it, but I've only heard of it like in running sports or endurance sports, triathlons, stuff like that. I've heard about IT band. I never heard about it anywhere else. But specifically with an injury like that, a knee injury, or let's just say a shoulder injury, because that's what probably the two most common things that I've seen at the gym. How do you navigate that in preparation for the open if you still want to do the open?
Yeah, obviously there is a ton of nuance and context to this discussion, but to give like some rough guidelines, the first thing is identifying what hurts. And what I mean by that is like what positions do you get in where you're gonna feel some pain? Like if in your instance, if you're experiencing some knee pain and it hurts when you do full depth squats, maybe we only do half depth squats. You know what I mean? You're still training that squatting pattern. No, it's not to full range of motion. Excuse me. But at least you're still eliciting some stimulus to that area and it's still pain free. Um, if anything you do when you bend your knee is going to hurt, then obviously we want to completely avoid that. But that doesn't mean that we have to not work out. We can definitely do some seated things that will allow, like for instance, let's say the workout is 5 rounds for time, 15 deadlifts at, let's say 185 for the men and 10 wall ball shots. Like if that's our workout and you're experiencing some knee pain, that's 50 wall ball shots. That's quite a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what we could do is we could just have you do like that wall ball push press where you like barely bend your knees, but then you're still being explosive. But it's more like upper body because then we're training the shoulders with that explosive press or push, I should say, to hit the target.
Yeah. And
Um,
there's a good chance that that would probably help my knee heal, right?
Help it heal. Um,
Or will it just not
yes and
hurt
no.
it?
I think I may be thinking about this too deeply. So yes, in the sense that it is going to allow you to get more oxygenated blood to the area. So yes, it will help you heal. Is it going to directly affect your healing process? Probably not.
Okay.
So will it help? Yes. Is it going to be is that the thing to do whenever you get injured is make sure you continue to work out? If your purpose is to heal, then there probably are some better things that you could do to heal specifically.
Yeah.
But we also don't want to use our injuries as excuses for us to not work out or to not train or not reach our goals for whatever our goal is. Like if we've mentioned this several times, like usually people want to come to the gym to look good naked. If that's your goal and you have an injury, there's other things that you can still do to make sure that you're working out.
Cool. Yeah, I did yesterday. What was it we did? We did a push press. Actually, we did strict press and toes to bar. And it was slightly uncomfortable trying to do the toes to bar, but it didn't hurt my knee. So I was able to get through it. Um, but it bothers me to not be able to squat. It bothers me to not be able to put any sort of load because again, with the open coming, like there's a really good chance there's going to be thrusters or wall balls or both. Those
Yeah,
are, I think I saw a video recently where the thruster is the most common movement that has happened in the opens every year.
it's
So
been in every open since the beginning of the open. There was one year where Dave Castro let us vote on the final workout, and we hadn't had thrusters that year. and we had three options, and only one of those options had thrusters in it. So it was like this is the first year that we may not do thrusters. Everybody voted for that workout. I was like, I was so mad, bro. I woke up and I saw that that was the workout everybody voted for, and I was so mad. Ugh.
I mean,
Come on, CrossFit, get it together.
that's it's almost like a rite of passage. If you're gonna be in the open, you got to do some sort of thrusting.
So
But
that's why
yeah,
you should sign up for the open.
get your thrusting in. But yeah, I mean, I like what you were saying, in reference to the wall ball, right? Still getting the movement and that work on my shoulders, still trying to work on some of that explosive power without directly impacting my knee, because that's probably what I'm going to end up doing later is something like that in order to continue to push in a thruster-esque way,
Mhm.
so that when the open comes, my knee should be better by then. I can perform those.
Yeah.
Obviously, if my knee's not up to par, the open's gonna not be as fun for me. But the intention is to get right before that.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's just specifically for the high intensity portions of your workout. Like you just want to make sure you're going through a pain free range of motion. Excuse me. You can always do a different variation of the movement. For instance, if you have like a wall ball or something, or you have like a goblet squat or something, and you still want to train the quads, you could do like a leg extension with a dumbbell pinch between your feet, and still go through a range of motion with your quads, or with your knee, I should say, contracting the quad to make
yeah,
sure you're still getting the stimulus to the legs. It doesn't always have to be something to whereas you're doing a specific wall ball.
right. What about like band work? Is that's probably on the safer end of things, right? Trying to do band work to rehabilitate it, so to speak, back to where it's comfortable.
Absolutely. But I would make the distinction between your rehab work and your high intensity work. I wouldn't try to merge those two together. For instance, like if you were doing some like lateral band steps to strengthen up your glute medius because you feel like that's the area that's compensating and that's giving you the IT band syndrome. Like, let's say that was the case. I wouldn't have you do like banded monster walks in the middle of a Metcon.
Right.
One, you're probably going to do them way too fast because you're going for intensity. That's the point of the Metcon. And then two, you may not be concentrating on the areas that needed to be concentrating on. So it's just going to be done way too fast, number one. And then number two, you don't have that mind body connection to really focus in on the areas that need to be focused on.
Yeah. What about using monostructural training, like the bikes or the ergs, the rowers, just to kind of keep your body warm, so to speak?
For sure. Especially if endurance is one of the things that you struggle with, I would definitely
Which I
suggest it.
do.
I would definitely suggest it. I do think, however, sometimes we think that we need to do more by getting on some of those other machines.
like
Excuse
like
me.
an hour on the rower.
See, I don't mind an hour on the rower, but like, what's the intention here? Are we just trying to get on the rower because we feel like this is the only way we can work out and we just spend an hour on a rower? Or are we on the rower to build our aerobic capacity? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
those 2 hours are going to look very different in terms of intervals, in terms of strategies, in terms of how much you're focusing on your technique. If I just want to get a workout in, like let's say I'm injured and I'm just like, oh, I just need to go to the gym just to get a workout in. I may jump on the rower and just kind of row at some whatever pace is probably not going to be consistent for that whole hour. If I'm injured and I'm like, okay, I need to get a training session in so that I can build my anaerobic base and lengthen out my endurance, then I may jump on and I say, okay, for the first 20 minutes, I'm going to ride at blank interval, or excuse me, blank pace. Let's call it 140 per 500 meters. I'm going to row 20 minutes at that pace. After that pace, I'm going to row at a 205 per 500 for 5 minutes. That's going to be my recovery pace. And then I'm going to do 10-second sprints with active recovery afterwards for 10 minutes. I don't know if that added up to an hour. I wasn't doing the math in my head. But again, those 2 hours are going to look very, very different in terms of like what you're really trying to get out of them. Are you just going in just because you're stir crazy, you got cabin fever, and you just need to get out of the house?
Yeah.
Or are you going in like with a plan, like saying, hey, this workout session, I want to actually improve my fitness?
Well, I'll tell you what my thought process was when I did this, because that's what I did on Monday. My aerobic capacity is terrible. And in my experience when I was into road cycling, um, one of the one of the coaches that I spoke with who did a lot of road cycling would tell me all the time, if you want to get faster, if you want to get better, if you really want to be able to hang with the big boys, quote unquote, just ride really slow for long distances a lot. Be consistent on a daily basis, ride slow. And, for those of you listening who don't do road cycling or never have, holding a 18 to 20 mile an hour pace, or 18 to 22 mile an hour pace, or an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours on a road bike it can get pretty brutal, right? So he would tell me to ride at 14 miles an hour or 12 miles an hour, which now it's like the other end of the spectrum. It almost feels like I'm going so slow, I'm going to fall over.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how he had me build my capacity. So I rode on Monday, rode on the rower for an hour at a very slow pace. I'm talking, it was somewhere around like 215, maybe 220 for most of it. And my whole purpose for that was to get a base in, just to get time in. If they have us row in the open for anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, it's going to feel like nothing to me at this point, because I did 60 minutes. You know what I mean? So it was more about getting comfort and getting base miles in, or base meters on the rower. And that's where my head was. My aerobic capacity isn't great. So I think being in that zone 2 style of work for that amount of time is helpful, and that's where my head was at. Whether it was or not, I don't know, but I guess we'll find out. I did the same thing on Tuesday when I did an hour on the bike erg. Same thing. It was just a slow pace, really just moving for that hour, being on the bike and sitting there and just focusing on my breathing, focusing on my knee, really, keeping it moving, and getting blood flow in and out, getting oxygen to all my muscles. I think it felt good. It was hard.
Yeah.
There's a point where you're like, okay, I've been on this thing for 20 minutes and I want to get off now. But yeah, that's where my head was at. And that's what I'm hoping, or at least what my intention was behind it. And I'm planning on doing that at least leading up to the Open another few times, because I feel like if I get into a workout now, I'll be way more capable of hanging than I was a week ago. My aerobic capacity suffers quickly. If I stop for a couple of days, it just disappears. I'm sure that happens to a lot of
Yeah, it
people,
happens to everybody, bro.
it's
Everybody, yeah. And
yeah,
it's not so much that it disappears; it feels that way. Excuse me. Just because your central nervous system isn't charged up to handle that style of work. So it feels like you've never done CrossFit before, even though it's just been like 2 or 3 days.
yeah. It's kind of frustrating, especially if you do take a couple of days off for whatever it may be. You go on vacation, or you just go away for the weekend, or you go visit some family visits, whatever it may be. Take a couple of days off, and you come in on Monday and Tuesday to work out, and you're like completely gassed.
Mm.
It's just, and maybe not, maybe I'm sure that it happens differently for different people, but in my case specifically, it's one of those things where it'll just it's almost like a button, like, oh, you didn't go to work out today, or you had to coach all day yesterday and you couldn't get a workout in. Cool, you suffer.
Yeah.
But
Going back to what you were saying about zone 2 training, Couple things with that. One, you still went in with that being your like plan for the day. You're like, okay, I'm gonna work on my long distance or my long duration aerobic capacity, and this is how I'm going to attack that. It wasn't like a thing to where you were just like, I just need to go move, and I'm just gonna sit on the rower or sit on the bike, and just whatever happens happens. Like you still had your favorite word, intention.
It
Should
is
be
my favorite,
everybody's favorite word, really, if
for
you think
real.
about it. So yeah, you still went in with that being the plan. That's kind of the biggest differentiator between just doing like a random workout or just doing a workout randomly than like actually like going and training. What we're talking about is being injured and then still training. Like, yeah, if you're injured, you can just avoid moving that joint or whatever it is and go like do some bicep curls. But if you pick up a 5 pound dumbbell and do 30 curls and do 3 sets of that, technically you worked out, but did you really benefit from that session, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting listening I'm listening to Brooke Wells' book right now, and she suffered a really, I think it's the worst injury that we've seen during the CrossFit Games. Um, and she's talking about having to be patient while her rehab doctors were helping her kind of build her elbow back up. I don't remember exactly what the number was, 200 and something pounds she tried to put overhead for a snatch, and her arm just popped. And so the doctors had to work with her mostly on her mindset than anything else. Like, be patient with your injury. We're going to get you better, but you're not going to do it overnight. So, one day at a time, she started doing it, and she had a hell of a comeback when she got back to the games. I think the following year. Um, but yeah, it's like listening to that, and then like I'm sitting here with my knee hurting and stuff, and I'm like, okay, cool, just take it easy.
Yeah.
Be patient. But yeah, man. I mean, I think a lot of people can learn from that, right? We get injured, and two things happen: we either stop because we're injured and we need to rest and recover, or we overdo it.
Yeah.
We come in and we're like, well, I'm hurt, but the best way to get through this is just suck it up,
Yeah. No
and
pain, no gain. Yeah.
100%. So I think it's important, be smart about our recovery, be smart about how we, you know, be smart about our intentions to get better while being hurt. And it's definitely possible. Most people will get impatient,
Yeah.
and then before they know it, they've hurt themselves longer, or they've been hurt for a longer period of time than they probably should have been, just because they couldn't dial it back a little bit or be smarter with their recovery time. So
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate and say that I think that um, for most of our listeners, like the general population, it probably goes more so the other direction most times. Like not everybody's gonna have that like ironclad Frankie mindset where it's just like I gotta grind, fam. I gotta grind. No days off.
who's gonna carry the boats?
Who's carrying the boats? Nobody cares. Work harder.
Yeah.
Um, I think most people like if they get an injury, they're like, oh, I can't do anything. I'm injured. I have to skip the gym today. I'm going to make it worse if I go do anything. So I just have to lay off for a couple weeks. I think most people are in that camp, and if that is you out there, I think it's important to note that there's always something that you can do. I mean, unless you're in a full body cast and they're watching you in the hospital, there's always something that you can be doing to improve and still continue to move towards your goals, whether that's to look good naked or whether that's to be the top performer that you would like to be. Whether you're in either of those camps or anywhere in the middle, any combination of the two, excuse me, I think it's very important to assess what you can do and then just go all in on that. Even if it's something as simple as like just dialing in your nutrition. Like let's say you are in a knee brace or something like that, where they don't want you putting much weight on your knee. I mean, you probably still could like bench press and I'll do other stuff, but let's say you couldn't do those other things as options. That would be the perfect time to like use that same amount of time that you would have been in the gym to maximize your nutrition, or to maximize your sleep, or to
Sleep.
yeah, get that extra couple hours of sleep for sure.
Speaking of healing and
Um,
recovery,
yeah, yeah. As far as like healing goes, like you can't really beat sleep. Yeah, like that will directly affect how quickly you heal. If you're not getting enough sleep and you're frustrated because you don't feel like you're healing fast enough and you're itching to get back in the gym, try and get some more Z's and let me know how that goes.
I think that's a really good point. We have so much that we can control, and we focus on what we can't.
Yeah,
So focus on what you can control, and think about your areas of weakness. Going back to the that theoretical hierarchy of athletic development that we talked about. I was going to say a few episodes, but now it's actually been
yeah.
quite,
It's been a
yeah,
minute, bro. We've
yeah.
been
But going back to that, nutrition comes first, and that's the base that we need to take care of the most. So what better time than when you have to heal and when you have to recover? So dialing that in is huge. And then second to that is that aerobic capacity that we all got
yeah.
to work on. So I did good. I
Yeah,
did good
bro, you've been
rowing.
crushing it, man. You've been crushing it. You're doing the right things, in my opinion. It's just addressing those other things that may get pushed on to the quote unquote back burner when we're so focused on like getting stronger, or mastering that handstand push up or something like that. You get that your body lets you know when it's time to take a step back and focus on the right things again.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. All right, man. I think I don't have much else to go over. I mean, we could probably talk about this all day. We probably
Oh,
will talk
all
about
day.
this
Yeah,
all day
probably.
later. But if you got nothing else, I got nothing else other than
Yeah.
you know.
We're gonna actually live stream the rest of this conversation. No, I'm just kidding. Just joking.
No, we do want everybody to be aware that the Open is here, though. The sign up web page is available on the CrossFit website, and whether you're going to be doing the CrossFit Open officially or not, show up at the gyms and take part in the intramural opens at our gyms and have fun. Join the other athletes and support them and cheer them on, because it's a lot of fun, man. It's a
It
lot of
really
fun,
is.
and in and of itself, it is a huge competition. Within the gyms, being able to pick on each other and mess with each other, and even if it's whatever, like last year, maximum amount of time holding a plank, let's push ourselves and be competitive and have fun. This is a really exciting time, arguably the most exciting time of the year for CrossFit,
Yeah.
and it's a really exciting time for Sweat Factory. So I'm really looking forward to it. I know you are. I
Yeah.
hope everybody else is looking forward to it, and let's just have a party, man.
Yeah. Let's get after it. I will say that burpee broad jump challenge from last year was
Oof.
probably harder than any of the open workouts. It was 1 minute of max effort burpee broad jumps, and I was gassed.
Yeah, I just remembered that when you said it. I forgot about that one.
Thanks, Coach Jen.
Yeah. All right, with that, we'll sign off of this one and we'll catch everybody on the next one. Keith, you have a beautiful day, my friend.
Do the same.